tired. I power napped a wee bit too hard. But here we are. We are here now. The past is in the past. Speaking of the past, I'm depressed. But that's okay. It's actually kind of good that I'm depressed. In a weird, roundabout way. Means I am healing-ish. If I can get through this, then I'm healing. And that's the plan. Hurts like a bitch, but we're healing. Also, I trimmed my beard, and my beard is fantastic. It's... Oh. I'm very happy with my beard today. So, that's a positive. And today we're going to be playing Pokemon. Because that's what we do. That's actually not what we do, but that is what we're going to do. So, without further ado, let's get into some nonsense. Right? Oh, let me guess. It doesn't detect this. Of course not. Why would it detect it? Why would it detect it? I'm just curious. There we go. Alright, so last time we caught the one Pokemon we could. And, yeah, we got a Poissy. But it is what it is! It is what it is. Alright, they got Peck. Water Sport and Tailwind. Well... definitely Water Sport. We also have to evolve Poissy. Alright. Now we fly. Huh, it was a crop. Pixels. Weird. Alright. What they do and what they say don't match at all. Oh, is it rest? Yeah, it's rest. Neat. Poissy. Poissy red. Oh wait, this is a new capture. I already have, I'm not going to try to catch that. But you know what? We can pack. Oh, really? Cool. Cool! Cool! Come on! Twice in a row! There we go. What is my emulation at right now? Yeah, it's only 2 times speed. Where's Mount Chimney? Back. Oh, that one. I've already been there. Okay. Okay. Hey, I found a heart scale. Nice. Wait. Yeah. Wow, I outspeed a Slugma. This one we're going to switch for. That was impressive that I missed that. nonsense. Shawaiker! Destroy him. Rip him apart. Hi, Numo. I don't like that you're 4 levels above me, and I'm that low. Hey, toxic. And that you know that you're toxic. I found a Firestone. What does this evolve? Firestone. Emerald. Bolt picks into Ninetales, which we do have. Eevee. Panseer, yeah. Huh. Alright. Shaboiker, handle this. I walked. Oh, wait. I might not want to put crack coke out there. Oh, well. Ow. For that reason. Let me show you power instead. Oh, hi, Torkoal. Hey, yeah! Blam! What year is it? Blech. I like how I walk 4 steps. 4. know why Machop is in here when, you know, like, it's super, super warm. Like, they're not a fire type at all, they're a fighting type, right? Oh well. Boom, baby. Yep, I saw the light. Hey, nice. Oh! Fuck! Battle! Oh! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! What the fuck? I wasn't expecting a battle! Okay. Oh, I hate meditate. Sheboyker will handle this one. Grandma! Go back! Oh. Go back! This is not a good place for you, Grandma. Oh, I wasn't. Okay. You know, I haven't really just been up here, but that's okay. Goodbye. Ah! That's a new one. Bye, Numo! You will not be missed! Where the feck do I go from here? Do I have to go back to the... Did I just not go far enough? Oh. They are in Mount Chimney. Okay, so... Okay. Okay. There's a base around here. I smell a rat. There we go. Oh, this is a counter. Oh, okay. I didn't know this was an encounter. Alright. But we already have a Torkoal, so we can ignore this area. Okay. Wow, that took a lot out of him. Really? A Geodude? Really? Okay, well, I guess we'll try to catch it. Wow! Okay. What are we naming Geodude? Since chat isn't here. Good enough. Geodude is rock girl. Alright. That was dumb, but it's fun. Oh! Hi, Jam! How you doing? If I just walked a little bit more, I got... Okay. Anyways, carrying on. Just carrying on. Should wake her. How are you, Jam? Jammy Jam. I can't walk 2 feet without... That's a second graveler. Name your next one Flowyberto. Why are we naming it Flowyberto? What do you mean you can't escape? Really? Nah, I'm not counting any of this. That is some bull. Nope. Do I count this or not? Because now I have to go find a new water Pokemon that can surf. But I don't even know if I can. I don't... Unless I just use the thing as fainted. Until... Ugh. Oh, hi. What are you trying to say, Jam? You got silenced twice. Hi, Puchiana. That was crack Coke. Why am I extra dyslexic today? I posted it in your Discord. By the way, gaming. Why you name it? Oh, yay! Oh, yay! There's already a clip. I'm curious. What does it look like? Flowyberto. Why are we naming it Flowyberto? That could... My scream is perfect. Oh. That scream is practically perfect, but Jesus Christ, that's pain. That is absolute pain. Oh. I need that as a sound redemption. Oh. The amount of pain. Oh, of course, now I'm paralyzed. I probably still outspeed it. I still outspeed a Port Torkoal. Oh, now Protect. But you know what I do? Attack. Ah, Fire Spin. Ah, Fire Spin. And I missed. Need that as a sound redemption? Huh. I mean, I could theoretically. I just don't know how to do it. I mean, I can figure out how to do it. It's just like, ugh. Oh, this is painful. This is actually painful. You know what? Okay. Get me out of here. I need to train. Get me out of here. We need to train. The pain and suffering. Like, that self-destructing graveler. Holy crap. Holy crap! That is a good scream, though. Like, I have to give myself, that was a 10 out of 10 good good scream. Alright. We have 2 fire types, which makes me pretty scared of water. But pretty much, my Canadian has a sound alert to me repeatedly saying I'm an idiot. That's fair. Mine is just, I don't have any, it's just, I make glorious sounds all the time. I want an electric type Pokemon. We also don't have anything that knows surf yet. If I recall, I can teach surf to the Zigzagoon, no? Can I teach the Zigzagoon? I don't think I'm not sure if I can. I can. And we can use also the item. Oh. Okay. You know what's nearby though? The Safari. What? The Safari is nearby. I haven't got anything from the Safari. Alright. I don't know how the Safari works, and I'm not sure how the Safari works in terms of, the context of, like, the game, in the sense of, like, yo, this one does this much damage, but, No, like, this is how much you can do. I'm just going to go until I can, like... What's the word? Catch something. If I can catch something, I'll do it, I guess. Okay. I was just told that I'm too lame to do this. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. Crap. Ugh. Hi, Mighty Anna. Don't worry, Crack Coke got this. Wow, it survived that. Like, just barely survived that. What's a Natsu? Hey, look, it's my people's heritage. No! Get back here! I don't want an oddish. Oh, I wasted a ball. No, don't do it. That doesn't count. I'm going to release that. That don't count. I'm going to release that. I don't want to, I don't want to fucking oddish. Well. There we go. There's something, I guess. What? I guess we named this. What are we naming this? Florberto. That's fine. Duo to trio. Bird. Dodrio. I feel like that's insensitive to Spanish people everywhere. Okay, it's a normal flying type. Ugh. It's a normal flying type. I'm not stoked about this. I don't think we can take this because it doesn't help us anyways, but it's what are we naming this again? How do you say this? Floriberto. Floberto. Floriberto. Is that better? How's that? Floriberto. 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 Why couldn't I see this sucker? Screw it! Catch it! If I catch it first try. No. Come back here! Okay. We still need a different Pokemon than Surf. But let's train our boys to get a little bit stronger. Let's get them all up to level 39. This will be the plan. Trash is just an HM slave currently. Another glorious clip. Oh! What is this? Let me see this nonsense. Intended for certain audiences. I love it. Thank you. I'm glad that I'm being censored already. Floriberto. Floberto. Floriberto. Floberto. I'm glad you're enjoying just... I'm glad you're just enjoying clipping my insane ramblings. I'm glad. I'm glad you're enjoying my insane ramblings. Oh, that's a Mighty Anna. Smoky. Oh, well. Cheese Borgle. Man, what that deep throat do? It's a curse. Anyways. Moving on. Wait. What is Shepherd Week 2? Okay. It's weak to darkness, right. Okay. I figured because it's just like a pure ghost type, but... This may not be the best place to train. Is there a better place to train? Maybe. Yeah, there's a better place to train than this. I think we just, we go back to our old friends. In Fort Tree City. It's like, yes, it may not be as powerful, but everything will happen more often. I don't have any damaging moves, so then we gotta do this. We're fine. Oh, Mudsport. Wow. 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 Wow! Goodbye. Yeah, we don't really have a damaging effect for Cheeseborgo currently. Hello, Osh. Ah! Alright, Oddish, you deserve this. I missed. Goodbye, little Oddish. You will not be missed. Oh. Actually, Jam, I should tell you the story. Like, the whole story. I could get into this. Do you want the whole story? Eventually, I'm going to, like, make a video explaining this, but for you, I can put this on air. Would you like the whole EXJW story? Because we're going to be grinding. In fact, I'm going to put the emulation up to 5 times. Yes, go on. Alright, I'm going to fast forward speed by 5 times. Okay. So, it all started when I was born. As many Jehovah's Witnesses are. That's a great segue, actually. It all started when I was born. And so, okay, I am 4th generation on my mother's side and 3rd generation on my father's side, right? My grandmother converted on my father's side, and my great-grandparents converted on my mother's side. And I grew up, I was born in northern BC. And, for a while, like, it's not that it wasn't present in our lives. Being a Jehovah's Witness was very much present in our lives, but we were not as fanatical as some. But unfortunately, my father, by the time I was about 8-ish, started feeling guilty that he wasn't doing enough. So, he quit his job as a power engineer, went from making a decent wage to making none at all. And we moved to Kitimat in northern BC. And that's where the JW, like, fanaticism really started ramping up. right? This is like the point where my father was really trying to push for an elder and really trying to push for everything, and that's when everything started really ramping up with regards to that. Some key memories I have about just Jehovah's Witnesses before Kitimat. Not a whole lot, other than I remember as a kid, I tried preaching a few times to kids my age, and generally, like, I made, like, friends that I liked being close to. The main problem was that I didn't celebrate holidays. And I had, these friends were trying to be so nice to me. They said, I'll give up holidays just to be able to have a sleepover at your house. Because they were that nice. And of course, that wouldn't fly with my parents. Like, I never was able to obviously go and yeah. They said, we'll give up holidays, which obviously they don't quite know what they were doing. We were all very young at the time, like I said, like 8 years old or younger. But then the fanaticism started up, and then as we went, as we started, you know, getting our, you know, feet under, as we started being able to, like, work in Kitimat and getting our, you know, roots and our bearings and stuff like that, I got bullied a lot. This area was new to me. It was not something I expected. Everything was a little bit different. I got bullied a lot. And especially with this new wave of fanaticism coming in, I was the weird JW kid. Or just the weird kid, right? Especially in some instances where I said I don't do any sort of holidays or any sort of stuff like that. Then, like, I got bullied a lot. And I remember one time where I said I wasn't going to participate in the Remembrance Day ceremonies. And I had one kid say that he was going to take the poppy pin and stab it into me to teach me some respect. Now, granted, not enjoying any holidays is really bad for a kid. Bullying kids for not doing holidays is arguably worse. And it kind of pushed me further towards fanaticism, because I was literally being persecuted for my faith. It was that confirmation bias. It was that confirmation bias. Really feeding into that, where it's like, yes, this is horrible. This is objectively horrible. And yeah, that was essentially part of, like, my start for that sort of stuff. But one key moment I remember, one of the earliest key moments that I know of my any sort of questioning was, would have been about 10 or 11. And I remember it was a Sunday morning. I was cranky at a lot of different things. I wasn't really in the vibe for going to the meeting. I just genuinely did not want to go. To be fair, meetings aren't fun. Never have been. Right? One of the most boring things in existence. But in that particular time, I just didn't want to go for the simple fact that I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling that spiritual. And I said to my parents, how do you know God is real? Before the meeting. I'm not sure if I believe God is real. Their response to me was, you're going to the meeting whether you fecking like it or not. Oh, hi, Chaos of Kevin. I'm getting into my feelings. I'm getting into my feelings. I'm here for the meeting. Yeah. So I just said, like, hey, I'm not sure how I feel about this, right? My father is like, my parents are just like, we don't care how you feel. You're going to the meeting regardless whether you like it or not. You're under our house, you're under our rules. You're going whether you like it or not. And my brain was just like, oh crap. Because at the time, I said it more as a way to, my brain was just like trying to find a way to get out of the meeting. But I didn't realize that trying to do that was so bad. Like, I didn't realize, my brain at the time didn't realize how bad it was to say that. Like, apostasy and all that sort of stuff. Like, I knew, like, certain things of JW things that were bad, like the typical JW things. But I didn't, this is my first brush with how bad apostasy was. Oof, yeah, no. My father was physical with me since I was 6. I didn't have a good relationship with my father. And that, I didn't have a great relationship in that sense. Yeah. Fun fact, this is, I was going, I was trying to make my story, like, entirely related to, like, the JW faith. Fun fact in my story, I was, like, it literally, when it came to this, scared to disobey, very similar to me. I remember one time, I was playing Pokemon. Like, if we're talking about physical, like, abuse, I was playing Pokemon on my Game Boy. This was before my dad snapped my Game Boy in half. But I had convinced, like, I was playing with my brother and sister. Right? And we were keeping it on the down low because we knew my parents didn't like it, but we wanted to play Pokemon. We were playing it on my Game Boy. Okay. My father eventually found out. He took all 3 of us kids into the room. He grabbed his belt. He smacked, and he said he's going to smack each of us 2 times for doing this with the belt. I got 4 lashes, and the other kids got nothing. I was the lesson, right? I was basically the lesson. It's like, oh, this is what you get for following, right? We're not going to do it because they blame me for the most of the problem. This is wild. Welcome to the life of growing up as Jehovah's Witness. Of course. To go that, I already knew where that was going as soon as you mentioned Pokemon. Yeah, JWs are really strange with Pokemon. Some are like, we don't care. Others are like, holy feck, it's from Satan. So, part of the reason why I don't know why, like, when I first started streaming, Pokemon wasn't a part of it. I didn't stream Pokemon when I did streaming 2 years ago, but I just felt the need to do a Nuzlocke, and it works really well with my story. Content. Anyways, so I remember coming back home from that meeting, and they were just like sitting me down, talking me through God. It's like, do you still feel that way? My brain was like, I have never asked that question legitimately. So we're not going to answer that question. Because to answer that question in, hey, yeah, I still feel that way, is going to be really fecking bad. But if I say, like, the good thing and confirm it, everything's going to be okay. And if I don't question it, we're going to be okay. So I didn't question it. I didn't question it for, like, it would have been 11? So literally for a decade. Literally for a decade, I didn't question it again. Because to question it would have been a problem. And then on top of that, I started, like, other things started getting built on to this presupposition. So then, as time got on, to question it would mean to question everything I built that presupposition on. Da-da-da, cognitive dissonance! So, to go into the next chapter, essentially, wow, that Tropia survived that? Huh. To go into the next chapter, I would start trying to, like, reach out. I was trying to get baptized. That was the plan. It's like baptism, service, and all that sort of stuff. Because even as a small child, right? I left this part of the story out. I wanted to go to Bethel and go there, like work there. Now, for those of you who don't know what Bethel is where they produce all the content, media, services for JWs around the world. And they have, like, depending on how big the location is, they have a Bethel in countries where they have a significant presence. And they're allowed to be. And of course, the world headquarters is in Warwick, New York. In the case of Canada, it's in Georgetown. I still regret not actually going there and, like, sneaking my way in. Well, not sneaking my way in, but, you know. Anyways, even as a kid, I always wanted to go there. So, basically, my father came up with this... Why Georgetown? It's close to Toronto. Probably. That's that. That's the reason for that. It's just near Toronto. But my father basically just, like, had this game plan. It's like, oh, you want to go to Bethel, you need to be this, 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 and this. I even had Bible studies at, like, when I was, like, 12 years old with another kid. I remember that Bible study falling apart because the father said, no, I don't want you doing this anymore. I don't mind you hanging out with my son at all, but I don't want you teaching him this stuff anymore. Right? Hi, Outcast Bros. Hi! I'm going into my story. Hello. For young boys to get as many privileges. Well, I also grew up in a very small kingdom hall. So, there was always stuff for me to do. Always. Always, always, always stuff for me to do. I was that shining example of a kid that's trying to reach out. I was doing the mics, I was doing the sound, I was working at the back, I was doing the literature, I was fucking 12. Fucking 12. Also, I haven't checked. Okay. And so, yeah, that was kind of the plan, was just, like, trying to get enough so that I could, reach out and keep reaching out and trying to get baptized. That was the plan. And I'd be 13 when I got baptized. Which is, like, not the youngest, not the oldest, not the youngest, kind of middle of the road kind of idea. And, you know, getting baptized is that really important day and blah, blah, blah. I did it at 14, yeah. Interestingly enough, both my brother and sister would be a year younger than me when they got baptized. They got baptized both at 12 because they were trying to follow my example, because I was the main kind of example spiritually. Interestingly enough, whilst I was the main example spiritually, at home I was the constant black sheep. I was like the odd child that my parents never could understand. I'm not saying that as an edgy teenager, I just legit was. There were times where my parents verbatim said, "I have given up on you. Do what you will." And then we'd go to the meeting and I'd be doing all the things. There'd be times where I was running sound, I was running a mic, I was doing all this sort of stuff. And I think the one thing that my parents always respected me for, and the only thing they truly respected me for in a lot of ways, was the fact that I was spiritual not for them, but for my love of God and Jesus. Like, it was the only way I could really, that I really earned their respect in a lot of ways. Which is depressing as fuck. when you look back on it. Because, like, I've always been considered smart. And most of my intelligence comes from the fact that I just have a really, really good memory. My memory, I'm like able to read a book and then I'm able to just keep that in my head for a long time. Like, I can read an encyclopedia I would literally read an encyclopedia and be like like, these are things that I would just remember and regurgitate and can bring it up and be able to do that. And so I did extremely well in school for that purpose. Oh, back. And, but I was constantly harassed for my pride. JWs will generally latch onto something about you as a weakness. Constantly. Because if they can take something that would normally make you feel good about yourself and twist it into something to make you feel bad about yourself, they can control a lot of other aspects of you. Right? Some people will, like, and in my case, it was my pride. A very common trait that people use, that JWs use to control you, is is generally pride, right? And in my case, they're just like, you're the perfect example of pride getting in the way of yourself. I was 12, 13, 11, and I heard throughout my entire life, like even younger than that your pride gets in the way. You're too prideful. You're too prideful. You're too prideful. Which I would later self-diagnose myself. This is self-diagnosis. It's not like an actual diagnosis, but it's like, I would suffer from, like, both an kind of inferiority complex, but also was really arrogant. Like, basically just suffering from an inferiority complex, because I was told, like, you're way too arrogant because of your pride. You're way too prideful. You're way too prideful. You're way too prideful. You're way too prideful. And it's just like you think you're way too smart. You're way too smart. They'd be confirming that I'm smart all the time, whilst at the same time confirming that I was arrogant. So it's like this constant loop of like, yay, I'm smart, but that's bad that I view myself as smart. Oh no! Yeah, exactly. Oh, fuck off. Constantly challenge what men would tell me and I would get shamed for it. Yeah, that also sucks. In terms of my JW story, when I tell it, I am quick to also tell people, yo, my story is not half as bad as several others. I was a straight white male that did exceptionally well from an early age to reach out. For the most part, I was treated as a higher status than most. Keep in mind, the horror stories I'm telling you, and we don't want to compare trauma. I get that. We don't want to compare trauma, but as trauma goes, I was treated nicer than a lot. So, put that into context for you. Received it. I didn't really have to worry so much about a lot of stuff. In that sense. Continuing on. So, I'm baptized, I'm doing things that I need to be doing, I'm doing all the good thing. But then, the thing about me is, another problem that I would later learn was a bit of an issue, and we're gonna get a little personal here. I hit puberty fairly, it's not like it's a problem, but I hit puberty very young. Not like so young that it's like, I was like 5, but I was younger than most. My parents neglected to inform me because they thought, because they didn't know that I was going through it necessarily, what was happening. They neglected to tell me that you can get horny. That was a thing that can happen. Whether that's on my like, wild, yes, yeah. And so, oh, fuck. Got you fast. So, I'm dealing with all of these new stuff, And like, as a young, and I've been dealing with them for years. Years and years and years and years. And it culminates. It's been as after I'm baptized and all that sort of stuff. At baptized, I'm feeling a little bit sick, so I don't go to the meeting that day. And I remember that the night beforehand, we watched a movie called The Illusionist. And it had a sex scene in it. It had a sex scene. And as, you know, I'm you know, I'm 13 at the time, emotions going wild. I'm like, I want to go specifically see that sex scene. Specifically that, again, because, ooh. So I type in sex scene into, illusionist sex scene into Google. You can imagine that that wouldn't that could provide a lot more than just that specific scene. And as such, I was thrown into a world that I was not prepared for. And by, like, not prepared for, I mean, like, yeah, I'm like, I had no idea this was a thing. I also like girls, Lamel. So, not prepared for this whatsoever. And I start that adult entertainment journey. Now, I knew it was bad as a JW, right? I knew it was bad. But I didn't realize, like, I didn't realize how bad it was until, like, because, like, I didn't focus on that. Like, to me, like, at the time, like, as a kid, when you're told that pornography is bad, you don't really pay attention because you're like, what the feck is pornography? Like, what is it? Like, there's nothing tangential to really grasp a hold of. And I've been told this since I was, like, 6. Right? Like, I was told all these things are bad, but I was never taught what they really are. Right? So, and like, all this sort of stuff, I wasn't taught any of this at this, like, the way it was. And, so, eventually, after a while, and now, like, when things are brought up, because you'd be surprised how often JWs, like, present sexual shame in their literature. Like, once a month at least. If not, they will have 3 watchtowers back to back to back to back. Saying, yo, this is bad. This is bad. And you're just sitting there like, and now you're actually part of that, and you have an actual thing to realize what it is, and you're just like, oh crap, that is bad. And so, as a 13-year-old, I literally just told Chaos this, Lamel. So, as a 13-year-old, feeling bad, doing all, they literally care more about sex and talking about it more than the world. Yeah, they will go off and off and off and off, drill it into your head over and over and over again. So at this point, the guilt has built up to a critical mass. So now, I'm like, I would say that I go to the elders, but I didn't. I kept it hidden, but the guilt. Now, feeling bad, but kind of good. Correct. It's, hey yo. So then I go into it, and unfortunately, one of the things the Watchtower doesn't teach you is safe porn viewing habits. Obviously not. why would they? But, and then eventually I got a virus on the computer. And instead of trying to remove it, I came forth because I'm just like, I don't know if I have time to fix the virus on the computer. So I'm going to see if I can lessen the punishment I get by coming forward with it. Now, for most kids, regardless of whether your parents are fine with porn or not, the conversation is just like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that, right? Generally, like, I don't know what's normal, generally, obviously, but it's generally not, like, intense shaming. Generally. I mean, obviously, there are some religious nutjobs out there that do that, but, you know, that isn't the most common thing, or, like, it is what it is. But yeah, I confessed my sins, and because I was baptized, I had to bring this forward to the elders. I was 13, and I had to explain to them in explicit detail what I was watching, what I was doing while I was watching, and how I felt during it. Explaining to two older gentlemen that were not related to me in a room without my parents. That is normal. That is how that is treated. And you wonder why there is problematic systemic structures that result in child abuse. Yeah. And so for the most part, like, it was what it was. But I remember my mother, and she always... Don't crit me, I guess? Okay. I remember my mother, like, the next day, the day after, like, that elders meeting, doing the daily text, because she'd do the daily text with us. And for those of you who don't know what the daily text is, it's a little pamphlet, a little book that you're supposed to, like, read every single day, which, like, basically has a scripture and then has a little blurb of, like, what that scripture is supposed to represent, or what it's supposed to mean, or what we can learn from it. My mother would do that all the time with us. Oh, right. They're normal type. But she had to wear a head covering. Because, like, for a while, I was the one doing the... Okay, I have to explain this point, too. There's so much bullcrap I have to explain. So, for a while, I was 13. I had to explain the daily... I had to read the daily text because my mother is a woman, and women are subordinate to men that... to people that have a penis and that are baptized. If you are baptized and have a penis, you're automatically over... Doesn't matter, over your own mother. In terms of the hierarchy. Cool! But my mother had to do the text now because I couldn't do it because I was, you know, being punished for it. They're being punished, so she had to wear this head covering every morning while she did the daily text to read a thing to her children. Because her other child that was baptized was in trouble. Woo! There was that! That was that! And it took for a while, I felt I deserved everything that was coming my way. I felt I deserved that for almost 10 years. But then, you know, after that hiccup, I continued on my merry way because I was still trying to get to Bethel and I was still trying to do all this sort of stuff. So between 13 to 16, I eventually reclaimed my status as a good Jehovah's Witness little boy, right? And then, yeah, there's not much else to say. Like, I had like a pretty typical. There will probably be stories that I can tell, but I don't recall them at the particular moment. But suffice to say, I was a good Jehovah's Witness little boy. Oh, here's a story. So now I guess we can get into sort of dating for JWs. Now, obviously, dating during high school, like, doesn't get anywhere. Like, like, it's just little flings, right? We like, a lot of people have memories of, you know, dating during high school, and it's just like, oh, the heartbreak and all that sort of stuff. But for a lot of people, it's a good learning experience, right? It's that kind of like that learning experience to transition to actually dating into the real world and learning how romantic partners and all that sort of stuff works. But JW culture views dating as the first step to marriage. Just straight up the first step to marriage. Like, if you're not planning to get married, don't start dating, is the idea. Like, literally, if you're not planning to get married, do not date. Which is as ridiculous as it sounds. But I have always been a romantic. Always. I love the idea of marriage. I love the idea of being with someone. I love romance. I love love. I love this. I love that. I love it all. And so I would always, but I was bullied a lot through school. Like, I was still bullied the heck and back. But in grade 10, so I was 15 at the time, things started changing around. I stopped being really cringe. Not saying that the bullying was justified against me, because it wasn't. Because I wasn't bullied just at school, I was bullied at home a lot. Just because I'm not the type to fight back. But, no more cringe, can't relate. No, I still was cringe, but I was, like, cringe in a way that people could understand now. Right? People understood what I was about a little bit now. And as such, I would start getting, like, really close to people. Like, very close. Like, literally, like, I still have artwork up here from an old friend. Oh god. Okay, there we go. From an old friend. I eventually got really close to people. Right? Like, this artwork I've had forever. I love it. Constantly got teased for it because they thought, oh wow, a girl made artwork for you? That means she has a crush on you. The girl was gay. So, no, she did not have a crush on me. But I couldn't tell them that either. That was also before my homophobia arc. We'll get into that. Back when I was a villain. But, I got close, and there was a girl I remember, and we got very close, and like I really liked being with her, and wanted to get closer with her, and understood. So I always had crushes on gay guys. My gaydar was very well and truly developed that I didn't develop. Well, that's not true. Anyways. It wasn't that, it was just like she was gay. It's not like I was close to her or I had a crush on her. But there was another girl that I had a crush on. I was very close to. But it stopped me from actually getting close enough. From actually, like, enjoying that part of that, you know, that little young love. Would it have turned into anything? Not likely. Nothing about that would have likely turned into anything, but that's not the point. That's not the point of, you know, that young love, right? But I remember I was texting her, and so I was texting her, and what happened was I had forgotten my phone at home. I had forgotten my phone at home, and my brother, who was sick, knew he was not allowed into my room. Like, there was punishments for this. Like, there was a precedent for this, right? You're not allowed into my room without my permission. He went in and stole my phone and used it. And stole my phone for a bit. He found the text messages. There were nothing, like, scary. They were just, like, cute. It's like, oh, wow, I really enjoy spending time with you. I think you're really nice. I wish I could, like, be close to you. I wish there, like... Just like that typical young love stuff, right? My brother immediately tells my father. Like, immediately. Like, as soon as he saw the texts. Immediately goes and tells to my father. Because there's another cool thing about JW culture. If you're still here at Chaos. Tattling is the go-to method to make sure that your brothers and sisters do not fall into the trap. Of, you know, of anything. Like, this is, it's like, you genuinely, like, that's part of the culture, is tattling. Of course, my brother did not get into any sort of trouble for going into my room, taking my phone without permission, finding all this information, all my private information, and then tattling on me. But I got grounded for 2 weeks, I think, for talking to a girl outside of school in a romantic subcontext. When I look back on this now, I realize how ridiculous that is. My brother comes into my room without permission, which he is most definitely allowed to do, invades my privacy, steals my phone, tattles on me that I'm talking to a girl, and I'm the one that gets in trouble because, God forbid, talking to a woman. How dare you? She's worldly. She's a Jezebel, a harlot. It's like, wow. And I would not develop any sort of psychological conditioning regarding dating from that at all. This is foreshadowing is a subtle art of storytelling. So there's that story. Eventually, okay, so that's that arc, and then we go into the Prince George arc when we moved again. Moved to Prince George. And I was 16 now, right? I'd finally gotten, a semblance of a personality outside of being smart and being a Jehovah's Witness. Granted, those were the two aspects to my personality, but there we were. And as such, people didn't seem to mind hanging out with me for the first time. And I actually met a friend on the day that I went to school for the first time, when we were both 16. And I'm still friends with her to this day. She's having a baby in 8 weeks, and I am so happy for her. She will pop up in the story a few times too. But I also would meet. This was also the first time that I would have people my age or around my age at a Kingdom Hall. I actually would have two that were my age, right? And forgot that exists. Okay. I'm trying to make sure that I don't die to this Kecleon. But the interesting thing is those two boys, at first, the one of them was considered spiritually weak, right? He was not like my thing, so people constantly compared him to me. Constantly. Later I'd learned he wouldn't care because he never got baptized. He hated the whole thing of JWs. He saw through it from a very young age. Good for him. But I remember I'm actually with my first worldly. Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't have a girlfriend in high school. I didn't get a girlfriend until I was 18, which is not uncommon. But I'll get into that. I guess I was technically 17. Yeah. I was a month away from being 18. We'll get into that. But what was I gonna say? But the other guy, he was my age, and he was arrogant. I did not like him from the moment I tolerated him, but I did not very much like him because he was arrogant. And he always tried to do something to prove against me. There was always something that he was trying to prove that he could do to one-up me, so to speak. And there was a very big crowd of, JWs, young JWs. And I remember my dad, this is me and my dad would constantly punish me throughout this, but between the time I was 16 and 18, things started improving slightly because he saw that I did not like hanging out with those kids because they were not a great influence. In the span of a year, I think 3 kids got disfellowshipped. And by kids, I mean 18 to 20-year-olds. Or, 18 to 20-year-olds. In the span of a year, 3 of them got disfellowshipped. And then also, that other guy would get disfellowshipped constantly too. But I was just kind of still focused on that JWism. Just Focused. And, then, I'm like I said, I'll get to this. Is there any other horror stories I could think of between I was 16 and 18? Trying to think. Not particularly. Like I can't remember them. There probably were, but not particularly. Because at this point, I had internalized all of the bullcrap. All of it. So, there was that. Then, I was just about to, when I was 18, I moved out of my parents' house. Like, literally, the day I turned 18, I moved out of my parents' house, and I moved in with my grandmother. Because my grandmother also understood that I was constantly at odds with my parents. She helped me get out of that with that. She was still a JW, but she understood that I was constantly harassed by my father, especially. At least. But just before, like, literally, like, a month before I turned 18, I met, not met, but I knew her, and, she would become my first girlfriend when I was 17. She would have been just about turning 20 at the time. And yes, that is legal here. No, there was not. Yeah, that is legal in Canada. If you were worried about that for some weird reason. Anyways, regardless of it being a problem or not. But anyways, and we dated in secret for 2 years. Because we both knew the view of dating within the JW religion. If you're not getting married, you shouldn't be dating. So we kept it hidden for 2 years. During those 2 years, I wasn't, like, I was a good Jehovah's Witness, but I wasn't doing the crazy stuff quite yet. Well, not during the 2 years. I'd say for the first year I was out. Because I'm just trying to understand myself. Oh, heck. And I had to get a new job, and everything was a little bit different for me. And, but then I got a visit by the elders, and, like, it wasn't like I was being visited because I was doing anything wrong. I was getting visited because, you know, they're like, we feel like you could do more. And so I ended up doing more, right? I ended up, like, being, like, that JW guy, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to become a ministerial servant, and I'm going to become an elder, and all that sort of stuff. Within a couple months, I was a ministerial servant. I started pioneering. I started, doing, congregation accounts. I was reading, there were times where I would read the Watchtower every Sunday. And by read the Watchtower, I mean, like, you have the Watchtower conductor, and then you have the Watchtower reader. I was the Watchtower reader for an entire month. Essentially, it was, hey, if you don't feel like doing it, Tristan will do it. Right? Like, if you don't feel like doing it, Tristan will do it. Right? Or if you can't make it, Tristan will do it. I was the constant backup because I was the best, and I was one of the better public speakers at 19 years old. Hey, like, that isn't hyperbole. I was considered one of the best public speakers in that Kingdom Hall, in that district at 19. And I was treated nicely for it. Like, everything was going great. But eventually, I would become a ministerial servant. I'd be doing this, I'd be doing that. I did a whole bunch of things. I'd meet friends. I get some real good friends at the time. Right? And I would break up with the first girlfriend. And then when I was about 21, I'd get a second girlfriend. That lasted 3 months. Fun fact about that relationship, I'm still in contact with that person. They have not left, they're Pimo. But they're gay, and always have been. They were trying to prove they were straight by dating me at the time, because I was like the only straight guy in the vicinity that they could tolerate. It's a hilarious... yeah. I feel so bad because she has horror stories. Or, not she. They have horror stories. Far worse than I could ever make. And once again, I'm not trying to compare trauma, but theirs was really, really nasty. But there's hope for them. No problems. Like, I'm sure they'll be fine. And I'm very proud of them. I would also, like, one of my big career moments as a JW was during a big convention in Edmonton. I gave a 5-minute part of the symposium in front of 15,000 people. I was 21. 22, actually. Edmonton. You, Edmonton. Fair enough. I understand. I understand the pain. Oh, right then. Fuck. Hey, I know that place. I've been speaking. Hey, I'm in Regina, so... Regina is to Saskatoon what Edmonton is to Calgary. That is that. Also, I will be right back. I need to get more art. I need to commission art. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Okay. So, it was at this convention where I did that speech where I'd meet my future partner. My future girlfriend. And we got very close. It was like my first like big real relationship where I'm like, we are like, the plan is to get married. Right? At first we hated each other, but then after my breakup of the second girlfriend, we got close. Fun fact, just to emphasize how dating sucks in the JW world-ish, the second girlfriend was cousins with the third girlfriend. The dating options in the JW world are very limited. Very limited. Hey, yo. Hey, I mean, you do what you can. You don't have much of a choice. You do what you can. Just check off the family one by one. It's funny because it's like there's an instance where I was at a convention one time. I would have been like 19 or so, and there was a girl trying to find me. Apparently, she never could find me at the convention because I was I was very busy that convention. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Correct. Hi, Eldritch Shark. How you doing? Good to see ya. Hello. She was trying to find me, but she couldn't. What happened was, she ended up finding my brother like a year later and started dating him. And she confessed to my brother. It's just like, yo, I actually had a crush on your brother before I started dating you. He's like, oh, damn. And then he told me this. I'm like, oh, yeah, I knew that. He's like, you didn't tell me? I'm like, I didn't care enough to. I didn't care enough. I'm like, if she wanted to downgrade, be my fucking guest. And he took offense to that. What in the inbreeding? The dating pool in the JW world is really small when you say, hey, you can only date other cult members. Oh, do you want to know what's even weirder? Do you want to know what's even weirder? So, the second and third girlfriend that were cousins, they were my cousins twice removed. No blood relation. Perfectly legal. It's just, that's how small the JW world can get. Especially when you're in Canada. Other JW sometimes literally will go to another country to find a wife. Quite literally. We need a wife. Go to another country. And generally, people are fine with that because it's like, yeah, we also understand the dating pool is fucking tiny. Yeah, stop. Anyways. Continuing on with my story, I get very close with her, the third girlfriend, and we would, I'd eventually move here to Regina to be close to her. Now, the problem with that is, as I was getting close to her, that was the start, as we started dating, that was also the start of my waking up process. When I started seeing the bullshit. Now, I wasn't telling anybody, and I was just keeping it to myself, obviously. But that was the start. That was the start of my downfall. It was also during COVID and all that sort of stuff, right? Which contributed to my waking up process. And it's interesting what's really started to wake me up is because, like, I finally had time on my hands. I couldn't pioneer. I wasn't going to. All the meetings were online, and like the meetings being online bored me to death. Like, just to death. I'm like, I have my computer right in front of me, and this was just ridiculous. Like, my computer right in front of me. There were times where I'm just like, this is so boring. Like, I'm putting the meeting on this monitor, and I have Minecraft open in this monitor. Which helped. That, honestly, wish that was the standard throughout my entire childhood. That would have been absolutely fantastic. Because the thing was, is I was still paying attention to the meeting at the time. It helps me pay attention. Because I do that, like, nowadays. I put on, like, a lecture. I put a lecture on my second monitor, or a you know, like, educational video on this monitor and play video game on this monitor. But as I started waking up, what really started my questioning was there's a subreddit called r/Jehovah's Witnesses. Do not go there. One, it's not run by Jehovah's Witnesses. Number two, it's basically just another cult. r/Jehovah's Witnesses is a cesspool of religious fanaticism just as bad as any other Jehovah's Witnesses. Even though there's, like, they're telling about how bad in one hand they'll tell you, oh, the Jehovah's Witnesses are so bad, like they're heretics. But if you call out like the Bible's BS on something, you'll get permanently banned. Ooh. I had to leave that group. Yeah, r/Jehovah's Witnesses was a thing. Yeah, they're But I remember getting into discussions with people, like debating people. I'm like, bro, like this is the debate. That was like the first like brush with apostasy I had. Because I'm like, oh, like if I can defend the faith against these losers, like nobody can stop me. But then I started reading other stories, and I kept seeing that little other suggested communities from Reddit. Just r/EXJW. Father, what is that dark place? That is apostate land. You must never go there, my son. But Father, what if they're right? And that's what eventually, probably after about 2 months of being on r/Jehovah's Witnesses, debating that to the nonsense, I started going on to r/EXJW. And I remember the first post I read almost made me go like, yep, nope, this is apostate, never going to touch this again. It had to do with sex. Keep in mind, I was, and still am, that super sexually repressed little spring of a guy, right? And this guy was talking about, you know, how crappy sex life of Jehovah's Witnesses are. And I'm just like, is that, man, everything about apostasy is true. They're only worried about having sex. Oh! But then I read a story from an ex-Bethelite. Now keep in mind, I've been wanting to go to Bethel since I was like 6. And, when that happened, and I saw the nonsense, and then I saw, like, the other video, the first video, apostate video that I watched was Lloyd Evans. And at the time, he was great. At least content-wise. And it was really good to watch and, like, critically, and I really started critically analyzing my beliefs. Very much so. And I started really getting into history, both the JWs. Due to abuse, my first JW marriage ended because... yeah. I'm so sorry to hear that. That's... yeah. Couldn't have no more... yeah, I'm very sorry about that. That's... that's sad, and I'm sorry. I hate that nonsense so much. Yeah. I'm very, very, very sorry about that. Yeah, that's so bad. So what I ended up, trying to get back my thoughts. I just started researching everything. Like, not just EXJW, but also history of the Bible and the history of everything. I didn't touch evolution yet. I would. And I don't have a degree in it, but, I definitely know a lot about it. Oh, hey! Thank you for the follow, Eldred Stark. But in a better place now. I've been in therapy for 6 years, and my current boyfriend is super, super supportive. Excellent. Still abused, but boy... what the fuck, Chaos? Hey, yo! What am I supposed to do with that? What the fuck? True, actually. What the fuck? Well, as long as it's consensual, I guess. But I'm not turning my chat into an ERP. Do not turn my chat into an ERP. Do not. I refuse. But yeah, I just consumed so much more knowledge, and like, my brain was already naturally geared towards like the scientific method and logical reasoning and all this sort of stuff. Like, my brain is already naturally geared towards that, and so it didn't take it all made sense to me. Like, for the first time in my life, the world started making sense. Like, it wasn't just like, yo, I have this presupposition which I build off of. It's like, yo, this is how our world operates. These are what things happen. These are the things that happen. You don't have to have a presupposition. You don't. And that was excellent. And, but all this time I was getting closer and closer to my partner at the time. And, like, she was someone that I loved dearly. And part of me to this day still cares for her. Part of me to this day still cares for that, for that lady. Very kind. So kind, in fact, that even as a JW, she ended my homophobia arc. I forgot to get into that, but I started my homophobia arc around 16. And I kept that till about 22. 22, so for 6 years. That was my homophobic arc. Where I'm just like, gay people, bad! You should feel bad! Holy fag! And I'm just like, and I look back on it, I'm just like... Like, I look back at myself, or I see any sort of content that has that sort of stuff, looking at you, critical drinker, and I'm just like, cringe! And not even the good cringe, just bad cringe. Just really bad fucking cringe. But yeah, they were literally kind enough where they helped me overcome that thing. And then also in the process of waking up, I'm just like, huh. That's like really bad to start judging people based on their... Like, I had this like brain blast moment, which, you know, is so apparently obvious now, but like at the time it was a brain blast moment where I'm like, huh, it's bad to judge people based on their sexual desires, in terms of like, if it's not like, no, their sexual orientation, I should say. It's really bad to judge people based on their sexual orientation. And this was like, wow, what a brain blast. Who the feck could figure that one out? And, yeah. That was that. But I would say about a month before I left, that was when the veil started slipping, where I'm just like, because I knew I wanted out 6 months before I left, but a month before I left, that was when my veil started dropping. Of like, just like how this is all bullcrap. Where I just, the cracks in my armor started showing, because it's just like, I'm like, this is bullcrap. And I'd start calling out things. Like, one of the first things I called out on my dad, and he was talking about voting and stuff, and how like silly it is to vote. I'm like, and like how like wrong it was. And I said, so then why isn't it a disfellowshipping offense? Why is it a conscience matter? He's like, well, you know, there's nothing in the Bible that says directly against that. I'm like, there are several things that are not in the Bible that we I'm like, there are several things in the Bible that, you know, that are disfellowshipping offenses for us, but we don't, that we don't do. Like, there are several things. And he sat there like, well, it's a conscience matter, but and I remember him just stumbling over all these different lines of logic and reasoning. And for me, my father at the time was like the most logical person I could think of. Like, if I had to think of a person that was logical and like well thought of, it would be my father. As much as like I had problems with my father, that was the thing. And I saw that veil drop immediately and see him just deal with the cognitive dissonance of like, oh wow. And then then I'm like, well, then why doesn't the governing body say it's a disfellowshipping offense? He's just like, well, you know, that'd be against the law here, right? In most countries, in democratic countries, that's against the law. I'm like, there are several directives where we haven't cared about the law. Why is it bad and why is it okay in this instance? But I didn't. He gave an excuse, and I did the only thing you really can do, and just to protect your PMO self and just accept it, right? That's the only thing you can do. It's just like accept it, and that's what I did. But all these different, all the different ideas, they really started. Say it louder for the people in the back. Well, it was just with my father. And, so yeah, I just accepted it. I'm like, okay, I understand. And much to my girlfriend's, like, joy at the time, like, I accepted it. It's like, okay, you're good, you're fine now, right? And I'm just like, sure. Sure. This is all, that is bullcrap. 100% bull. That was like the first time in my life where I'm just like, I sat there and I'm like, everything you said there was bullcrap. Not only, like, is there, like, it's just everything you said. Point for point for point for point. And, that was, but the real mask off moment I had was I was discussing with, my partner, my girlfriend at the time, because she was going on about how bad the world was. Like, oh, this world is so bad, this world is so bad. And I said, okay. Why do you say it's bad? Why do you say it's like so horrible? She's like, well, there's a whole bunch of things that people do that, right? I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, so are you saying, and I told her directly, I'm like, are you saying that you would rather live 100 years ago than today? Like, would you rather be transported back into time? Do you think your life as a person would be better? She's thought about that, and she's like, no. I'm like, okay, well then let's go back further. How about 500 years ago? She's like, most definitely not. Like, let's go back further, 1,000 years ago. And it's like, oh, most definitely not. I'm like, let's go back 2,000 years ago during Jesus' time. Would you want to live during that period? They're like, I'd like to meet Jesus. I'm like, ignore the Jesus for a minute. Would you actually want to live that entire time? You only get Jesus for 33 years. After that, you have to deal with the rest of your lifespan. Would you want to live during that time? No. I'm like, what about 5,000 years ago? Where slavery was rampant. All these core ideas that were so normal, like slavery, imperialism, conquest, might makes right. All these different ideas that were just common and ordinary. Would they even live for 33? Exactly! Exactly! Would they actually live for 33 years? No! Oh, I missed it. I'm like, and I put it into perspective. I'm like, you would have been a woman during that. Like, obviously, you're a woman. A woman during that time. Do you actually want to be a woman during that time? You would have been nothing but property. And even God's chosen people, if you were an Israelite woman during that time, you would be considered property. Yeah, sure, you might have had a loving husband that may not have viewed you as such, but the law viewed you as such. The law considered you as property. And, she's like, well, I guess the world is slightly better than then. Which was amazing to get that, to get my partner to admit. Because that's like goes against a core fundamental belief that they have. Like, that's a core fundamental belief they have, is just like the world is getting worse and worse and worse. And yeah, there's some things about our world that are pretty crappy, obviously. Right? Like that's just how it is. We understand that. But to pretend that the world has somehow been, is so bad right now that you can't, you know, see the progress humanity has made in some instances? is the most doomer behavior possible. Like, that is the ultimate doomer. But, I mean, they're a doomsday cult. That is why they're a doomsday cult. The world is so bad, it's going to end soon. Don't worry, God is going to destroy all the bad things about the people, about this world. Unfortunately, the bad things of this world include gay people. Oh yeah, I mean, no Nova, no Solar. Every single, the world has ended for everybody at some point or another. That's just how it is. But that was like one of my bigger mask off moments where I like completely like dropped the mask and tried to show how bullcrap it is and how I'm like, and then another time I brought up the problem of evil. I brought up the Epicurean paradox. I'm like, so you believe God is all loving, all good, and like all good, all powerful, and all knowing. Yeah, obviously. Like, great. Why is there evil? Well, you know, Garden in Eden, like Adam and Eve sinned. I'm like, wouldn't an all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-loving God be able to see that was coming? Possibly. And do events to make sure that that bad reality didn't happen? Or teach them how that was bad? You know, instead of having to make them eat from the tree of good and bad, actually just tell them what's good and bad? They're like, well, then you give up free will. I'm like, so would you be personally fine letting your child put their hand on a stove because it's their free will to do it? Well, no. I'm like, well, this is far worse than a child putting their hand on a stove. Far, far worse. Right? And they're just like, well, I have since developed, like, the problem with evil, I just hate it. That's why I'm basically an it's not even basically, I'm an anti-theist. Going, and then eventually, finally, I had enough. Because the thing was, at this point, me and my partner had been dating for a year. We were very close. Very, very close. And we had some heavy petting sessions. No sex. Just some heavy petting sessions. The horror. The horror. Can you believe it? A couple that's been together for a year wants to be physically close to each other? The horror. And she felt guilty enough to try to talk to the elders, and the elders came up to me, and I'm just like, and they were talking, and at that point, I'm just like, I'm done. Not the heavy petting session. Well, I almost forgot that, yeah. And I'm like, I'm done. I am so very, very done with this. And so I decided to go one last visit with my, hopefully it wouldn't be my last. It was like my last attempt to try to convince my partner this was all bullcrap. And I even offered to them, I'm like, if you need me to. I'm like, I told her straight up, I'm like, if I pretended to believe, but you know that I don't believe, would you be okay with that? I cared about this person so much that I was willing to stay just for them. Would have been a mistake. Looking back on it, 100%. But at the time, that was what I was doing, and I'm a romantic. That is, when I care about someone, I will do a lot. Right? That is what I do. But, she said no. I would not be okay with that. That's just not something I could ever abide by. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I'm going to be leaving. Like, I can't do this anymore. And she started crying. Her father comes out. And he starts yelling at me. And I go off on him too. I start yelling back. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're having, and it's just like, how dare you make her cry? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just saying goodbye. Is she not allowed to have emotions now? Like, and she also had some nasty relationship with her parents, right? I'm like, do you think I'm intending to make her cry? Do you think I want to make her cry? Do you think that was the plan all along? Do you think I'm kind of like, and yeah, he started making moves towards me, and that was probably the closest I've ever been into a street fight. I have never felt that much rage towards a person. Like, in the heat of the moment, because so much was going on in that moment. I had never felt that level of rage where I was that close to, like, actually fighting someone. I have never been in a fight. I don't desire to be in a fight. Never have been. That was the closest. And then the elders came to me the next day, and I just said, they're like, we want to talk to you about your, you know, heavy petting sessions. And I just said, nah. No thanks. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness anymore. I do not want to be one. I am leaving. They're like, well, we want you to write a letter. And I said, nah. Nah. Just, I'm not gonna write a letter. I know what, I've read your Elder's Handbook. I know what it's about. I know the procedure. Nah. No thanks. And, yeah, much to their chagrin, that was how I left. And that's some of the story. There's probably so much more that I could think of later on. But yeah, there's that.
All units, robbery in progress at Lakeside Bank on West Jackson Boulevard. Be advised, assailants are armed and dangerous. Getaway car is a black Pontiac Trans Am heading southbound on South Clark Street.
I hope you enjoyed the story. Oh. I have been talking. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the story. Plenty more. And eventually I'll do a video where I go into, like, excruciating detail. I need a better stab move for Foxy. Oh. This is now the question section, if anybody has questions. And as you can tell, I'm very open, so you can generally ask what questions you like. This is the question section of the podcast. Timid. Not sure if you mentioned it, but you were married at any point? I just dated. I have never been married, much to my chagrin. I mean, with my last partner, this was after I left the cults, I basically viewed her as my wife, and technically we would have been considered common law. But that ended literally a month ago today. So, yeah. That was, no, I was never married. Even though I wanted to. From a very young age. And I would have been the type to get married at 18. If I didn't have that fear constantly put in me about, like, oh, you only can get... you only get married if you can... Like, if you're... don't get married, 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 don't get married. Constantly. That was constant from my parents. Meanwhile, I'm like, I'd like to get married. Still would, but, you know, you can't force those things to happen. Yeah, it's not something you could just be like, wife please, and that'll just pop out of the air. That's not generally something that happens. At least nowadays, thank God. Marriage. We are gathered here in the holy matrimony of marriage. But yeah. God, how many Lanoons do you want me to get? I'm killing the local raccoon population. I like how Chaos is here being like, I've heard these stories before, but damn. This actually happens. Me thinking from Chaos, from Kevin's perspective. I definitely heard this story before, but damn. I can't believe that this is not like an isolated instance. How many Lanoons must I fight? Fine, I will use the Lanoon to destroy the Lanoon. Crack coke? Smack him. I'm glad he gets to hear it from a guy Canucky. Canucky. I feel validated. You know, just talking to Story, meeting other XJWs is just validating unto itself. Isn't that great? To be part of a cult, leave that cult, find the people that were part of that cult, had also left that cult. Their existence alone is validating. That's part of the reason why I made this channel. Just the existence of others like me is validating. Doesn't matter necessarily what they believe now, doesn't matter where they go, where they've come from, where they will go, where they come from, Cotton Eye Joe. Their existence alone is validating. And I use sound attack. Just kill this. Ah! Jeez, Borgo. Wow. Yeah. Of course, what's sad is that some of the people that I've met that, like, one of my old friends that I had, one of my old friends that I had, never, like I mentioned him previously, that he saw through the bullcrap of JWism, like, from a very early age. He fell down the alt-right pipeline. And he blamed, like, when we reconnected, he started blaming a lot of the things on a certain ethnic people. And I'm just, specifically those found in the Middle East. And I'm just like, you saw through the bullcrap of a cult from, like, a very young age, but you can't see through the bullcrap of this? Really? Really? Yeah. I get that's not how it works. Like, that's, but still, I'm just like, really? That's what gets you? That's what you've chosen? Really? So yeah, that was an interesting thing to learn, but the other people that I've connected with has been awesome. Like I said, like my second girlfriend, I connected with them back. Found out like they were gay the entire time. I'm just like, you know what, my brain... I was talking about them actually with today. I'm just like, you know what's funny is you never told me you were asexual. I just assumed you were because I didn't really sense that you were physically attracted to me. My gaydar was working. My bias, though, was not figuring out what the actual thing was. It's just like, she's not physically attracted to me. Maybe she's an asexual. Yeah, that makes sense. There's no way she could be. Absolutely not. Which is hilarious to me now. When does Shuppet evolve? At level 37. Final. Okay, good. Good. Excellent, young Skywalker. Okay. Oh, fuck. How do you poison something that's basically a sheet? No, no. I'm probably going to evolve Cheeseborgo, and then I'm going to call it a night. Cheeseborgo. Ah! I probably definitely should make that that scream I did as an alert. I need art. I need a little bit, not like a crazy amount, but basically just more title card things. Cheeseburger! Look at this thing. This thing creeped me out as a kid. I don't have a water type. But I also need something that can kill water type. I have 2 fire types. I have a ghost, grass flying, normal. We're ignoring trash. Trash is not a Pokemon. We can add someone else, but it's like I don't even know what else to add. Trash is not a Pokemon. Trash is an HM slave. Alright. We're gonna save this here. Save state. Boop. Gonna go here. Okay. Close that up. And I'm going to be saying goodnight to everybody, but first, before we do, gotta get the God Cat. Because that's what you people come here for. You don't come here for me, you come here for this. You're good, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. You're fine. Isn't he the best? Aww. Isn't he the best? This is for content. You must stay for content. I need you for content. Please, please follow. And there you go. Up you go. Alright, well thank you all for joining my stream. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for letting me rant. And I hope to see you all Monday, because Sundays I will be taking off. But yeah, my general stream times are trying to be from Monday to Saturday from 7 to 9. And yeah, you all have a fantastic day. Stay safe, stay warm, and don't let the bed bugs bite. Bye!